Last offseason, Georgia quarterback Carson Beck was competing for a starting spot. To tell you how much things have changed, this go around, he's showing up to Georgia spring practices in a Lamborghini. I am joined by my coworker, Connor Riley. Connor, Georgia coach Kirby Smart spoke about how he doesn't want returning starters to be complacent, but based on what we heard from Beck today, it does not sound like that's a concern for him.
No, Carson's got a fast car and he's going to take it anywhere. And I think he wants to take it to a national championship this year. He was a guy that could have gone pro after last season. I think made it a real point to come back this year, be an improved player, be a more vocal leader. He, as Kirby Smart said today, is more of a lead by actions than necessarily lead by words guy. And so this is going to be an interesting offseason for Carson as he sort of leads the team through spring practice. But he's a guy, answered every question you might have about the Lamborghini that he brought in this offseason. Big car guy, can't spell Carson without car, and he's looking to lead Georgia from the driver's seat this season.
Here's Beck on what he expects from himself as far as improvements this spring.
And working through reads faster, and then knowing when I can take the big shot and then when I need to check it down and play it safe. You know, I think that's the biggest thing for me. And going back and watching film from this past year and watching all the games over, those are a few areas that I can really improve on. Now coming back, having been the starter, you know, I can kind of hone in and focus more on what I need to improve on compared to just trying to compete against other guys. I can really focus on competing against myself.
Okay, let's walk through injuries. Linebacker Smile Munden wheeled into the press conference room, but we got to talk to him a little bit. What did you hear from Kirby Smart as far as injuries, and did anything stand out to you as far as, well, this is a concern, even though it's so early?
Yeah, as anyone who's followed Georgia for a while, they have very physical practices, and they're just guys that are banged up over the course of the season. Tyrion Ingram-Dawkins having foot surgery, he's going to be out all spring, is a little bit of concern given how much we've talked about the defensive line this offseason. Other guys working their way back from injury. Mykell Starks is dealing with a shoulder injury. He's going to be limited a little bit. He was an All-American last year for Georgia. But for these injuries, a lot of these are cleanup stuff, and it's not really things to be worried about. And for those that might be, Nakobe Dean missed the entire spring before he went on to win a Butkus Award in 2021. Brock Bowers missed an entire spring with a labrum injury. He went on to win the Mackey Award for the first time that fall. Georgia's going to have a lot of injuries. It's probably a good thing that a lot of these guys are getting these things cleaned up now so that they can be fully ready to go for fall camp.
Let's talk running backs. Georgia loses Dejon Edwards and Kendall Milton, but they gain Florida transfer Trevor Etienne. Everybody was talking about this guy Tuesday. Take a listen.
Everything that we heard about ETN before he got here has held true. He's a tremendous leader. He's a high character kid. So he immediately surges into a leadership role because, he's not a first year player. He's been in our league. He's been in our conference. He has standards and expectations, and he's high character, and he's proven that the time he's been here.
He's a great player. He's a dynamic back. And I spent some time with him. It's not much as I'm going to spend with him. And I can't wait to see what he can do for us.
Okay, so now I want your take. What does Georgia get in Etienne?
Yeah, I was encouraged to hear that Kirby already referring to Trevor Etienne as a leader because it's a very young running back room for Georgia, not a lot of experience in there. And Trevor Etienne's a guy who's played in the SEC for 2 years, second in rushing for Florida each of the last 2 seasons, has played against Georgia. Smile Munden talking about that famous play last year where he tried to throw a 4th down pass. Seems like he's really ingratiated himself in the team already, and to get that kind of buy-in and that kind of leadership right away for Georgia, I think is really big at a key position like running back.
Georgia's got several key returners, but they also lost a lot from last season. What are the biggest vacancies that you can pick out, and who do you want to see step up to fill them?
Yeah, I think you start in the center, and that's Cedric Van Pran. This was a guy that started 44 games for Georgia, a 2-time captain, one of the most respected players to ever play for Kirby Smart. Now, the guy that they're bringing in to replace him, Jared Wilson, has earned rave reviews, got called the freak athlete by Tate Ratledge. And so there's going to be a lot of pressure on Jared Wilson this spring to replace him. Obviously, the other place to look is in the secondary. You lose 3 guys to the NFL draft. And Kirby Smart, being the defensive backs guru that he is, always has talented guys back there. I think a lot of people are going to be excited to see 5-star freshman Ellis Robinson and KJ Bolden this spring in terms of how quickly they're able to potentially get on the field and make an impact.
Well, we'll keep you informed as Georgia spring practices continue. For Connor Riley, DawgNation, I'm Sarah Spencer, AJC Sports.